Shane, we did an interview with Shane. He said he had a match with Scott somewhere. I forgot what town it was. And he said that sometimes Scott would, I guess, purposely, make him look bad, and then go back to the road agents and tell him that he's not a good worker or whatever, and stuff like that.
Right. Well, when I heard that happen was when they were over in Europe, and I wasn't there.
Right. That's exactly where it was.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't there on that, and that's the thing. And that's where Shane's, because Shane's a smart kid. Most stuff, like he only worked with me once.
Right.
And mostly he and Scott were together, and Scott, in his opinion, he's the guy that buried him, but he always used my name because Scott Hall is not a big enough name, and because I was always the closest one to Vince, so then he eventually used me and just went to drum on me because more people would notice that.
Right.
Hey, he's a smart guy, But I find it, I don't know that it happened, if it did or it didn't. Only the guys that were there on that tour could tell you. But I find it hard to believe because Scott's not going to have a match that stinks on purpose because it's only going to bury him.
Right.
What I do know is that Shane, whatever it was that he had in ECW, he didn't have in the WWF. He was not good. He didn't, like I said, I don't know what it was he had there. And as I've seen older tapes, best I can tell is that he was just allowed to cuss and use the word fuck and ass and shit like that. And that's not a good interview. That's just easy. That's called cheap heat, cheap pops. That's like nut shots and stuff like that. That's not good interviews. And being a good worker isn't throwing a guy through a table and stuff like that. It's knowing how to work. It's knowing how to get to people without having to do that stuff. Where he put the nail in his coffin, and again, I wasn't there either. It was in Madison Square Garden, and I heard Tell Vince told me, that he wouldn't work on the Garden because he said his back hurt him a little bit. And that's when I came back. Vince, he said, "Can you believe that son of a bitch fucking is in Madison Square Garden? He's there to show. He's good enough to wrestle all the other talent, but then he couldn't work at the Garden." And I said, well,
Right.
I said that is what separates the men from the boys. The guys that want, the guys that don't. So, he had his name stamped, early on from Vince, and I can remember me and Hunter trying to help him and stuff because we didn't like that stupid shit he was wearing.
Right.
And I can remember Hunter and all the Canada tours was me, Hunter, and PJ, and the other guys were somewhere else riding together, and then Shane, Sonny, and Candido. Riding together, and we were all staying at the same places, and Hunter trying to draw him up different ideas and stuff like that.
Right.
And the kid was with us too, but he was working with Kid, and he just couldn't have good matches. And I remember talking in the car, and Kid going, "I just don't, I don't get it, man." He goes, "I've heard so much about him." He goes, and he just doesn't, And I don't know if it was the gimmick,
right?
That Shane couldn't figure out how to make it work or what, but with all due respect to him, he stunk when he was with us. He did. Well, he did.
Right. What caused, I guess, Vince to come to one of the house shows? There was supposedly you guys were going to go on strike or something like that. It was rumored in the sheets that the Clique was going to hold Vince, right?
We're going to go on strike.
Right. And,
no, I remember it was Indianapolis, and we just asked him. We just said, because the angles, the show, there was no strike. It was me saying, I think what we're doing right now, angle-wise and stuff like that, which eventually turned into the WWF attitude.
Right.
Was me saying, whatever we're doing right now is wrong. It stinks. So we just said, can you come down and let's figure out a new way to. The company's got to go in a different direction, And we came down. We all just met in the hotel, and we went through the whole list. And he brought it all. He goes, okay, I want you to go through this list, and you tell me who you think can work and who can't.
Right.
So we just went through the list and did that. No one got fired. No one got hired.
Right.
Anything like that. He just wanted an idea, and most of the guys, again, people that didn't like us, or the guys, like Candido was a shit. He can work. If the fucker would stop worrying about what his girlfriend's doing, and be in denial about it because, whatever, it's he's got to stay focused because the kid could work,
right.
But it was just a meeting to go over, and we told him you ain't got to fly in. It's just something you need to think about. No. He did all that stuff on his own.